Welcome back to the channel, my Virgo friends. That is right. We are already heading into the month of September, and I have your full September horoscope for you. So tune in. This will take about 40 minutes. Feel free to listen in the car. Get your calendar ready, your natal chart if you have it. If you don't have your natal chart, you can always watch my video linked in the notes to always have your natal chart ready, because if you have natal planets that are impacted in any of these transits that I'm going to discuss with you today, it certainly could have a much more different meaning for you. So again, what I'm going to cover today is a general bell curve astrology for the collective of anyone that is a Virgo rising, a Virgo sun sign, or a Virgo moon. Now, if it's your Virgo moon you are listening for, that's going to be more of an internal things that you may feel, but you don't necessarily express. If you are listening for your rising sign, then your natal chart will look very similar to what I will be showing you today. And these house placements do correlate with your rising sign. However, if you are listening for your sun sign, which is what most people listen for, it also will make sense for you. I tend to listen to both, and I do find certain meanings from both signs. If you are over the age of 40, most people do relate more to their sun sign. So keep that in mind. Like I said, grab your natal chart. You don't have to. Feel free to listen to me while you are driving or in the car. If you're at home, thanks for spending some time with me. Grab a snack and a drink, and we will dig into your natal chart. So hello, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I am your astrology coach. So my goal for you is to teach you about the transits that are coming up in astrology, right? If we know better, we can do better. And so I tell you about the transits that are coming up and how they might manifest in your life and how you might use the energy. And yes, in September, we do have some squares. We have some oppositions, and we will be discussing how we can work with that energy. There are also some positive things happening this week too. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we will go ahead and dive right in. All right, Virgos, I hope you are seeing what I want you to see on the screen here. So this should be what your chart looks like in September. You should be seeing Virgo in the first house. So on September 1st, we have Mercury in your first house of Virgo, and it is sextiling Mars, and Mars is squaring Saturn in the 8th house of Aries. All right, so Mercury in the first house of Virgo, it's operating in its sign of domicile and exaltation. So Mercury makes your thinking, your speech, your self-expression exceptionally clear and persuasive. So you can project authority and grounded logic. Now you have Mars in your 11th house of Cancer. This drives your energy toward group efforts, community involvement, and future aspirations. So in Cancer, this drive is protective and intuitive, focusing on safeguarding your team, your friends, or your network. And you have Saturn in your 8th house in Aries. This will pose some limits, delays, or heavy accountability around your shared finances, debts, investments, taxes, or even deep psychological trust. So what this entails is there may be efforts to push forward with group projects or team initiatives or social goals in your 11th house. You could find yourself running into financial roadblocks here, some rigid contracts or heavy joint liabilities, those 8th house themes. So impatience in collaborative work gets met with red tape and a scarcity of resources. So keep that in mind. Remember, that's why I'm your astrology coach, to let you know what's coming, right? When you know better, you do better. Now, Mercury sextile Mars. So your individual clarity with Mercury in the first house of Virgo connects smoothly with your social network in your 11th house of Cancer. So you can articulate your team strategies effortlessly. You can be a sharp voice for your group, and you might even be able to convert some shared ideas into plans. Now, you can use Mercury as the exit ramp here. So when Mars is feeling blocked by Saturn's heavy eighth house restrictions, your first house Mercury is going to provide some solutions. So rather than reacting emotionally to financial or administrative delays, use your precise analytical skills, some direct communication to really look at the numbers or renegotiate terms and solve these problems step by step. All right, so all of those things are happening on the 1st. Let me move the wheel here to September 10th. All right, on the 10th, we have Venus entering Scorpio. This is in your 3rd house. So Venus enters Scorpio, your 3rd house. This is your house of siblings, neighborhoods, short journeys. It's also communication. So with Venus here, she's going to really lighten things up for you. There's going to be a peaceful communication here. Now, this is a collective astrology, so this is kind of like whole world astrology. So Venus being in the 3rd house of communication is really good for talking peace treaties and problem solving things at work or anywhere in the world. It's just a really good transit for communication on the 10th. Now we have Mercury, which enters Libra, which is your 2nd house. So Mercury brings curiosity, Mercury brings planning, organization. So that's going to be occurring in your 2nd house of finances and your self-worth, your personal belongings. During this time, it's really good to be looking over finances. It's a good time to budget, organize things that have to do with budgets and money. Checkbooks. Check and make sure that all of those T's are crossed and those I's are dotted. Catch up with paying your bills. All right, good time for that. Now, on same day, September 10th, we also have Uranus Retrograde, which is happening in your 10th house of your career and your public reputation. So Uranus Retrograde in the 10th house shifts the energy from a radical revolution to inward. Anytime a planet goes retrograde, we're really looking at reflecting inward, right? Prompting a deep internal audit of your career, your public reputation, just your overall life direction. So rather than triggering sudden external shocks, this 5-month phase is going to give you the mental space to reevaluate whether your professional trajectory actually aligns with your authentic self. So let's see, that outward drive to rebel against authority or abruptly change jobs can take a pause here. Have you been feeling that way, Virgo? So instead, you begin to question what genuine success, independence, or legacy means to you versus what society expects. So if Uranus direct brought sudden workplace pivots, restructuring, or abrupt leadership changes, this retrograde period is going to allow you to digest those shifts and strategically adjust those long-term goals. So you're being pushed to examine where you've compromised your personal ideas and beliefs to satisfy your bosses or to satisfy the institutions or public status. This is going to really prompt a desire to reclaim your own terms. How this might manifest for you in the real world, you may feel a strong urge to branch out into a more unconventional or independent or innovative career path, but you're inclined to build that exit strategy behind the scenes rather than making any impulse moves. So a career status, job title, or public image that once felt like an achievement may suddenly feel like it's suffocating, restricting, or outdating you. So if you are in a leadership role, you may feel compelled to drop these old rules in favor of a more authentic, flexible, and progressive approach to your public life. So how can we leverage this energy, you ask? So treat this transit as a professional incubator, I guess. Resist the urge to burn bridges out of sudden frustration. Don't ignore the persistent internal nudge telling you where you've outgrown your present structure. So when Uranus stations direct, you will be ready to execute your next major career move with sharp intent. So this is just going to be a quiet time with your career to really plan, really think about what you want your direction to be. So Virgos, are you feeling an internal pull to reinvent your career path, or are you currently processing unexpected shifts at work? Let me know in the comments. So we also have a new moon in Virgo, which is happening in your first house. All about you, Virgos. By the way, happy birthday. Drop your birthday in the comments. I should have mentioned that in the beginning. It's your sign. September is your month, so happy birthday to all of you. But we have this new moon in Virgo in your first house, so it's all about reinventing yourself and offering a clean slate. This can be changing your physical vitality, your daily self-care habits, just your overall appearance and your self-presentation. So how might this manifest in the real world? Here are some ways. This is the perfect time to start a new fitness routine, or overhaul your diet, or establish regular sleep patterns, or schedule overdue health checkups. You may feel inspired to refresh your wardrobe. I love that for you. Maybe get a new haircut or professional persona so that your outer image reflects your current internal standards. Virgo energy naturally sifts out what is unnecessary. So this lunar cycle encourages you to get rid of those toxic habits, any of those unproductive daily routines or relationships that have drained your energy. So Virgo in the first house can also trigger heightened self-scrutiny. So focus on this analytical drive on practical self-improvement rather than holding yourself to impossible standards of perfection. So while outer planets transit, like Uranus, to your 10th house, they continue to shake up your long-term career goals behind the scenes. So this first house new moon grounds you in the present moment, and it reminds you that long-term external success starts with a well-maintained personal foundation. Remember, the new moon is all about sowing the seeds. This is your time to manifest any of those first house themes. So like I said, if you want to start a diet or a health routine, this is a really good time to start it, stick to it, and see those results. Get your vision boards ready. Okay, on the 12th is our next transit. And on the 12th, we have Mercury in your second house, which is trining Pluto in your sixth house of Aquarius. So this trine is going to give you mental focus, allowing you to use your voice, your sharp intellect to upgrade your daily work systems, your health habits, your physical routine. Those are all your sixth house themes. So Mercury in the first house is elevating your personal presence, your authority, your self-awareness. You are able to express your ideas directly. You're processing information quickly. You're analyzing your personal trajectory. Pluto in the sixth house is operating deep beneath the surface of your daily life, driving the transformation with your work environment, your physical health, your daily routines, your service to others. So Pluto's going to seek to eliminate any inefficiency. It's going to eliminate any bad habits. So this trine here creates an effortless flow between your conscious mind and your daily execution. So you don't just notice what is broken in your routine, you have the drive and the mental discipline to overhaul it seamlessly. And on the 15th, Venus is in your third house, squaring Pluto in your sixth house of Aquarius. So we have a lot of work themes going on for you, Virgo. So with this fixed square, because both Scorpio and Aquarius are fixed signs, this tension is going to manifest as a stubborn standoff between your own personal communication, which is third house themes, neighborhood siblings, and workplace demands or health stressors. So how might this manifest for you in the real world? So you can expect, not for all of you, but I'm going to go through some of these things, right? Because these themes are overarching. So you're going to see which one is going to apply to you based on what's going on in your life. So this could be friction with coworkers, clients, or team members. Regarding tone or administrative control. There could be some political maneuvering or unspoken tensions that could mess up communication with the people that you work with. You may even find yourself fixating on a specific email or a workplace conflict or just an operational flaw. So the mind wants you to analyze the problem to guarantee control. Okay, but don't overanalyze things, because the more you overanalyze, it's just going to cause more stress. Virgos don't need more stress, do you? So Venus rules ease and harmony, while Pluto rules heavy intensity. So we are thankful for Venus being in this mix, because unresolved tension in your daily job or routine can directly manifest into mental burnout, nervous fatigue, or physical stress. So I want you to really be aware of this transit. Don't get involved in the drama, and just tell yourself this is a transit that we will move through and we will move beyond. All right, so on the 17th, we have Chiron going retrograde, and it leaves Taurus and enters Aries. If you haven't seen my little short video on Chiron, it's pretty neat. It's an animated video, and it talks all about Chiron's placement in the different houses. And Chiron is the wounded healer. And so many of us we all have Chiron in our natal chart. This is why I always say, bring up your natal chart, make sure you see where your Chiron placement is, and it'll give you a little hint about where the universe needs you to glow and grow. All right. So on the 17th, let me move my wheel that I hope you can see. So Chiron is leaving Taurus and entering Aries. It's leaving your ninth house. So the recent passage through the ninth house has challenged possibly your faith in the future, or your long-term goals, or even your personal belief systems, maybe asking you to build a more realistic belief system, or re-looking at your own personal values. So with it re-entering the eighth house of Aries, it's retrograding back. It's going to re-engage some deep shadow work here. Aries touches raw wounds around personal autonomy, self-defense, power dynamics within some high-stakes relationships, joint finances, or even fears of control. So here's some possibilities for how this might manifest in your daily life. Unfinished business regarding joint assets, loans, debts, taxes, or maybe financial dependence on a partner resurfaces. So you're being pushed to resolve lingering entanglements and reclaim your own independent control over your own resources. That's one way. So another way Aries in the 8th house can also treat emotional openness like a threat to survival, sometimes leading to a protective armor. And this retrograde allows you to heal any past betrayals you may have had. It helps you to drop defensive walls, and it helps you practice deep intimacy without the fear of losing yourself. Now, another way it might manifest is if you have previously felt compromised in your life or over-controlled or powerless in a shared arrangement, this period is going to give you the final boost of courage needed to establish firm boundaries and clear out old emotional baggage. All right, and then our next transit is on the 21st. So on the 21st, Mercury in your second house of Libra is going to sextile Jupiter in your 12th house of Leo. This is a very benefic relationship here, quite possibly unlocking some intuitive wealth coming your way. So this is on September 21st. Jupiter's in your 12th house, and it acts as it's really bringing confidence, protection, and some spiritual optimism in the 12th house. You have Mercury in your second house. This is the house of wealth, personal belongings, your own self-worth. And Mercury and Jupiter sextiling each other could bring you some gut feeling, some behind-the-scenes inspiration that's translating into some concrete money strategies or some budget plans or earning opportunities. All right. Jupiter really acts like Santa Claus. He's going to bring abundance where he is. And even though he's in the 12th house, he's speaking to Mercury in your second house of money. So he could bring some money opportunities your way. So Mercury is in balanced Libra. Mercury is going to rationalize how you value yourself, while Leo Jupiter shines light onto the subconscious. So this aspect helps you to dissolve your hidden fears of scarcity, of self-doubt, replacing them with a calm, objective sense of your true worth. So ideas here quite possibly will develop in solitude. That's where Jupiter is. So some private creative endeavors, meditation, paying attention to your dreams. You could very well get messages that can yield some tangible financial reward. So pay close attention to these intuitive insights regarding business or income. Because they're likely to be on the mark, and the universe is trying to give you signs. You just have to be open to receive them. This is also a good time for negotiating pay, reviewing your budgets, or setting financial boundaries with others. You can also advocate for your fair share without stirring up a conflict. You might also feel inspired to spend or invest in ways that generally reflect your core values, that bring you peace, or prioritizing quietness over flashy consumerism. All right, and then our next transit is on the 22nd, when we have the Sun entering Libra, which is in your second house, really drawing your attention to those finances and your self-worth. This is going to bring some clarity around your personal value and your self-worth. You're going to see those themes being highlighted in September on the 22nd. So again, good time, pay off those bills, see what's coming in, be working on that budget. On the 26th, we have an exciting full moon. So this full moon is in Aries in your 8th house. So because the 8th house governs shared resources, taxes, loans, investments, and joint assets, this lunation is forcing some resolutions there. So a debt really could be paid off at this point. A joint account could be restructured, or a partner's financial situation may reach a turning point, or an estate tax or matter will be coming to conclusion, a final decision, right? A full moon is all about a culmination. So Something is closing in this 8th house of shared resources, of chunky money. So Aries demands independence. So while the 8th house dives into some deep psychological entanglements, this full moon is going to expose where you felt controlled or indebted to other people, or even overly dependent on other people. So it's going to grant you the courage to cut those emotional cords and set some boundaries so that you can regain your own personal authority. So full moons pull hidden dynamics into the light, and emotional walls tend to come down during this placement, prompting honest conversations about trust, power dynamics, and vulnerability in some of your closest relationships. Now, with the sun sitting opposite in your 2nd house of personal earnings and self-worth, this lunation forces a clear line between what is strictly yours and what you share with others. So it's insisting that you fortify your own financial independence rather than leaning on someone else. And then on the 27th, we have Mars entering Leo, which is your 12th house. So your passion is going to shift away from seeking that public validation toward more inward private projects, some strategic planning. You can achieve some massive focus and productivity when you're working in solitude. Let's see, Mars in the 12th can pull old resentment, some repressed anger, or passive aggressive habits up from the subconscious. So be aware of that. Leo demands the courage to face these shadow patterns directly rather than letting them quietly drain your stamina. Now, you could also see some restlessness and active dreams. So we have this fiery Leo energy in the house of sleep and surrender, which can trigger vivid dreams or nighttime restlessness. So physical movement during the day, like some solo workouts or active release, can help burn off this excess internal heat. So you may also feel a strong urge to protect your quiet time and your energy. Be sure to set firm boundaries against anything that's going to drain your energy, like being around demanding people. Coworkers with a lot of drama can help. It'll bring about burnout. So do your best to stay away from those situations and stay calm. So it's a high-powered transit, and 12th house is all about seeking internal. So meditation, yoga is going to help you during this time on the 27th. Refining your goals out of the spotlight, when Mars eventually crosses into your 1st house. And let's see. So on the 30th, we have Mercury entering Scorpio, which is your 3rd house. So in daily interactions with siblings, neighbors, or coworkers, you will be holding your cards close to you. You'll be sharing information strictly on a need-to-know basis. You might be a little standoffish, right? Mercury is all about communication, but I do see Venus there. So again, it's going to be a peaceful combination, but Scorpio is going to bring that dark side to that combination. So you might even feel a capacity for deep research, some dark novels, some dark movies. Trying to think of like Dateline, is that the show? Like those mystery shows, some technical problem solving. It's a good time for editing things. You'll just be able to focus for hours without losing concentration. So, all right. So Virgos, I hope you have a great birthday. That's what's in store for you for the month of September. Thank you for joining me. I do appreciate you. If there is a Virgo in your life that you know and love, be sure to share this video with them. and like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you know when the next videos come out. I put out a video at least once a week, so you know what's coming for the week. And I do a whole full breakdown for each zodiac sign. I do use tropical zodiac, whole sign houses. Be sure to drop me a line in the comment. Let me know where you're from. And I do appreciate all of you. So thank you so much for tuning in.